I'm playing Candy Starr. She is, I would say, a good-natured prostitute with a heart of gold.
I am playing the part of Sandy, and she is a prostitute. She loves to party, and so I get to show up to the party.
Nice.
Who's first?
Oh, you.
All right.
Age before beauty.
You got that. I'm Abe Warren. I'm from the Deep South, from Georgia originally. Ended up roaming around California for a bit before we ended up in Oregon. I was raised in a really bad family. My father was physically abusive and a drunk. My mother was sleeping with anybody she could find to sleep with. And eventually I left home by the time I was 16 and started hitching my way around the country. And ended up here at the hospital where it helps me, the character, with the abuse in the background. He becomes abusive. And so Warren is racist, he's probably misogynistic, he's a bully, and as most bullies are, he's a coward. And so that's sort of a good place for him to be from his standpoint, where he has so much potential control over others, but at the same time he's meek and cowardly towards the big nurse.
Oh, I'm Abe Warren. No, I'm not. I'm Abe Williams. And Abe Williams is kind of a not really smart guy. He grew up in a family of like kind of militaristic type of family. He wanted to follow in his father's footsteps and join the police academy, but got kicked out because of his attitude problem and his quick to anger. And basically, he found an outlet in being able to kind of channel that anger towards people that are weaker than him, which is his purview. So he joined the Looney Bin and became an aide and followed closely behind Warren, learning from his example.
Good question. The best development of a character is based on your own life, or at least I found that. There are aspects of my life, there are actually aspects of my father's life. He grew up in exactly that family I was just talking about, except his mother wasn't promiscuous, but his father was an abusive alcoholic, beat him severely, and finally ended up hitchhiking across the country during the Depression on a train and got run over by a train and killed. So a lot of that stuff rubbed onto my father, and in playing this character, I'm trying to take some of the aspect of working, or living rather, with my father that I'd love to change. And I'm incorporating it into Warren to try to live a little bit of what he went through. It's tough, you really have to dig deep at times, even for a relatively small character, to really bring it to life.
I think I kind of draw more to fantasy, mostly because I don't have that kind of experience yet. But you go to the same cliches of why is this person a bully? Why does that person act this way and act that way? But then I try to kind of draw lines from them, kind of move off to the norm. Try to make them a little bit more unique. Try to make them what a lot of people wouldn't expect, which kind of, to me, makes them a little bit more interesting. So with a small part that you have, you don't really have a lot to draw onto because you're not really in all the scenes. So you kind of just have to, I kind of just make up what needs to be said quietly by these people.
I normally like to read and figure out what the relationship is between each character, and my goal is, I'm a prostitute, so I just want to make money, so I most likely will be flirting with as many guys as I can.
So I go about backstories with my character a little differently than I think other people will. Instead of trying to create a new background for them, I imagine how I would react if I was put in their situation. So I had to think about, like, what are the steps it would take for me to become a prostitute and then end up partying in an asylum with a bunch of guys who I probably didn't know very well. So it's been fun to think about that scenario.
I mean, what's really interesting about this play is you kind of see yourself in a lot of these patients that are in the insane asylum. You kind of understand what they're going through. The idea of what these people have in what might be wrong with them is kind of what a lot of people feel is their own shortcomings, whether it's social anxiety or if you happen to hallucinate. Honestly, though, it's a really interesting play to, first you just read the script, but seeing it acted out on stage is really powerful, because you can't, your imagination can't make it up without actually seeing it on stage. It's a little more fun that way.
I like this show because I think when people hear it and they think about the Netflix version, they're like, oh, it's really funny. But then when you're actually in the room where the audience is performing it to you, it's not all comedy. Like, it's really a social commentary about, like, how we treat the mentally ill and people who are in scenarios like McMurphy. So it makes you think a lot more than people think, like the Netflix version.
You know, it's a phenomenal piece of work, and you know, when I was growing up, way back in the Stone Ages, I remember Kesey's work, and I remember when the play first came out, and it was tremendously powerful. It was at a time of great experimentation with drugs and looking at gender relationships and racial relationships, and there's a lot of turmoil in the country, not unlike there is today. So the play sort of is a microcosm of so much that was going on in the 60s and so much that's going on today as well. So it's I think it's deeply appealing just from a sort of historical standpoint.
I love that it's telling a story about guys in an institute and trying to figure out who they are.
The energy, there's just such a phenomenal amount of interaction between the people on the stage and the audience feeds you as an actor on stage. You just pick up that the awe, the power, the energy, whatever you want to call it, that they're experiencing out there. And it's hard to describe if you haven't been on stage before. The intense feeling and the intense reward that you get out of bringing your character and the play to those people.
It's actually funny because I said the same thing.
Yeah.
My favorite part about live theater is it's a different audience every night, and you have to put your best on every single night because you want to make sure that the audience gets to see your best.
I love the feeling of being in a room and having that one-on-one connection with the actors. Like, the actors are directly telling you, the audience member, a story, and it's really neat to be in the room and just get that direct delivery.
Please come come watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I want to say thank you for coming out. I know live theater has been a roller coaster the past couple of years, but theaters can't do what they do without their audiences, so it really means a lot that people are coming out and still supporting us.
You know, we've gone through a hell of a hard time these past couple of years. The pandemic is not over yet, but is winding down, and man, do we need to interact again and to come out of where we've been keeping ourselves for the past few years and all that we've gone through. Theater is a great way to do it. Relieve your, your tensions, your fears, and so forth. Come to the theater, come and just let things go for a couple of hours. Immerse yourself. It's a great way to sort of combat some of the issues that we've gone through.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is a great way to kind of just lose yourself in the just watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to make you feel like you're part of something again. Because every time I ever watch a show, I always feel a part of it, and that's the best thing about theater is you're not watching a screen. You're watching these people on stage. And you're actually feeling their energy coming off of them onto the audience, and it just makes it feel so much more fun. But not only that, come because we enjoy having the audience here. We love it so much, and we would love for everyone to come here and be a part of this wonderful thing we've got going again.